So look, a lot of blame avoiding, a lot of, as the reporting has been, temper tantrums, but at the same time, Natalie, there are hundreds of thousands of people who are going without pay, wondering what are they going to do with their bills, etc. Let's talk about how this is affecting many parts of the U.S. government, people who are impacted, employees with the TSA, the Transportation Security Administration. They're not getting paid, but they are required to report to work. This may impact security operations at some airports, including Miami, where it's having an impact. Miami's airport will be closing one of its terminals at various times. Authorities, however, insist it is still safe to fly.
Also affected, food safety. 41% of employees at the Food and Drug Administration are off the job, and millions of food stamp recipients could lose their assistance if the shutdown stretches into February, when funding is expected to run out.
The Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, has stopped processing flood insurance claims, and the impact there, hurricane survivors are being affected. Overall, the government shutdown is impacting some 800,000 federal workers and their families, and the longer it goes on, the more painful these effects will be.
Frustration among the furloughed workers is already reaching critical levels. They've now begun turning their agitation into rallies and protests demanding the government reopen.
And you can't expect that anger to grow louder as this shutdown continues to drag on. Some people say they're running out of money.
And I've been here for 20 years. I've wasted 20 years of my life on the federal government.
So are you worried about getting behind on bills, payments, that kind of thing?
Everything, yep. Yep, I have enough for one more mortgage payment, and I got to go to CarMax tomorrow and sell my car.
You're going to sell your car?
I have to.
You can't dip into your savings, borrow some money?
Nope, savings is gone.
When you think about this, have you figured out who you should be blaming?
Everybody. It's not the Democrats. It's not just the Republicans. It's not just Trump. It's everybody. And we don't want an apology. We just want our jobs back, and we want them to make it right.
Let's talk about this situation with political analyst Peter Mathews joining us from Los Angeles. He teaches political science at Cypress College. Peter, always good to have you with us. Well, we just heard from that. Thank you. We just heard from that young woman right there. I mean, these are real people that are hurting at this point. So President Trump traveled to McAllen, Texas, a border town, to make his case for his wall. Did he make it, in your opinion?
Not even close. And I've been to McAllen, Texas. It's a very quiet suburban town. It's ironic you chose that. But look at that young woman you just heard of who had to sell her car in order to pay her bills. It's just unconscionable. And so many people will have a difficulty to get food stamps and other kinds of programs. You know, the TSA is having to work without pay. Same thing with air traffic controllers. What kind of morale will they have when they're controlling the air traffic? And many are calling in sick of the TSA. It's just unbelievable the president would do this and then make his case in McAllen, Texas. Also, he said that he identifies with these folks who don't get a paycheck. He says they'll somehow they'll make it through. And one more thing, Natalie, is outrageous. His administration gave instructions to Coast Guard members to go out and conduct garage sales to make their ends meet. Garage sales of our people are securing our coastal area. It's unbelievable that he would even make those kinds of comments. Yeah. To show you what low depths this is really going to.
Yeah, that was bizarre. What about his argument for Mexico paying for it? He claims now, Peter, he never meant Mexico would write a check when he campaigned on Mexico paying for the wall.
He certainly did, and I'm sure glad that you put it up on the screen there, showing his statements that were totally contradictory to what his position is right now. And he did say that Mexico would pay for the wall. He even had his crowds out in the campaign rallies echo him and make an even stronger point, saying Mexico will pay for it. And then now, you know, he's not able to get Mexico because Mexico is a sovereign nation with a sense of pride. It'll never consent to pay for this wall in any way whatsoever. And he's trying to stretch the matters by saying that the trade deal with Mexico, the new trade deal, will actually help pay for it indirectly. That's just a major stretch, in my opinion. It just shows his desperation in trying to make his point when he's clearly in the wrong. And I don't give equivalency to the Democratic side and his side, because there's no comparison there. The Democrats say separate the two issues. Separate the border issue, the wall issue, and separate the government shutdown. Let's get the government going again so people can have their jobs back, the federal workers, and we can have those services for Americans who need it. And then the border issue and the wall issue can be worked on later on. And after refusing a compromise just during the last session of Congress, he won't even do that. He wants to combine the two in order to get leverage unfairly.
Is he making his case at all for certain people, maybe his base, that this is an emergency and this must be addressed? Who's winning the blame game here, Peter? Democrats or the president, who said he would rather negotiate with China than the Democrats, and he's starting to call them names at this point?
Completely counterproductive. He thinks he's going to deal with the Democrats that way. It's not going to work whatsoever. And the American people sent a message to him by sending a majority of the House into the Democratic hands, at least a 38, 39 seat majority now, after in fact, he ramped this whole thing up about the wall just before the election in order to get his voters out to vote. What happened? His voters came out to vote, and it wasn't enough, was it? The Democrats swept the House, and the point is that it's not going to get enough voters on his side for him to just rely on his base by doing these kind of egregious things, and it's not going to help him in 2020 to win either. So I do think the American people are seeing right through his hypocrisy, and they are on the side of sanity, of separating the two issues and saying, let's get our government back to work, and then let's work on the wall. But most Americans don't even support the kind of border wall he was talking about, a concrete wall. Only 56% were against the wall whatsoever, and 62% of Americans want to stop the shutdown and get the government going again. So he's clearly in the minority, and is what he's doing, in the minority opinion.
Peter Mathews, we always appreciate your insights. Peter, thank you.
Thank you.